Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you how to make a keyhole in a ribbed scarf. Something I made for my welcome winter set. A scarf like this with a keyhole. See, it's a hole. It's just another way to secure a scarf around your neck. Instead of tying it, you just put your scarf inside the hole and pull it tightly and feel warm and comfortable. It's a nice way also to decorate a scarf, to make a keyhole in a different pattern or something. So for this demonstration we would need needles, yarn and a stitch holder. I made a small swatch of a ribbed fabric. Let's pretend it's our tiny scarf, and again let's pretend that it's long enough to make a keyhole in it, and get going. The first step we need to do is divide stitches to make a keyhole, because keyhole has two sides, right? And we have to divide stitches to make those two sides. In ribbed fabric, I suggest we do the following. We slip all knitted stitches along with selvage stitches on a needle, and all purl stitches we slip on a stitch holder, like this. So this is without knitting them. This is a selvage stitch, I slip it on a needle. Knit stitch, I slip it on a needle. Knit stitch, I slip it on a needle. Then I have a purl stitch coming and I need a stitch holder to slip it here. Purl stitches go on a stitch holder, like this. Again, knit stitch, slip it on a needle, and go on like this till you're finished dividing your stitches. The last knit stitches and the selvage stitch go to the needle. And here's what we have. Now we can close the stitch holder so that our stitches won't run away. And that's what we have. We have all purl stitches on a stitch holder, and we have all knitted stitches and selvage stitches on a needle. Now we go on and make our keyhole. Because our yarn is on the right side, we have to slide all stitches to the other tip of a circular needle, like this. And now we are making the first part of our keyhole. I slip the first stitch and then I keep knitting. Okay, now I have the first side of the keyhole ready. Here's how it looks. Don't make it perfect. Certainly it looks better when it's square, but don't make it square because the scarf will go loose. And it's better, like 2/3 of the width is usually enough. It will look good, and then your scarf would be pretty tight around your neck. So the first side of the keyhole is finished. Now what I do, I break the yarn like this, and I move to making the other side. So we go back to our stitch holder and the purl stitches that we have there waiting for us, for our attention. So what we do, we slip all the stitches from stitch holder on a needle, like this. And we slip all the stitches of a finished side back to stitch holder, because we would need the second needle for making the second side of the stitch hole, of the keyhole. and close the stitch holder. So here's what we got. The stitches of the finished side of keyhole are on the stitch holder, and the stitches of the second stitch future side of the keyhole are on the needle. Now we move them back to the other side, get the yarn, and start working on the second side of the keyhole. Okay, now we have the second side ready, and we are good to go and join our stitches to go back to knitting our scarf. As you see, the second side is a bit narrower than the first side. I did it intentionally because this way, this would be kind of right side of your scarf. And though they look same, it would look better when you tuck your scarf in. You won't see all the edges because this one is more narrow. It will all go in there, right? So you will look pretty, the scarf will look pretty and nice like this. So again, the first step we did was to divide the stitches. The second step was to finish both sides, knitting separately in flat. Now we are coming to the last step, which would be the joining stitches back in ribbing. How do we do that? Same way as we did the division part of this technique. And then we combine them in the same way. So we take, because we started from this part, from the selvage and knitted stitches, we'll go back that way. So we slip a selvage stitch and 2 stitches from the first part, first side of the keyhole on a needle. Then we take 2 stitches from the second part, 2 stitches from the first part, 2 stitches from the second part. We are doing 2 by 2 because our ribbing is 2 by 2. If you are doing a 1 by 1 ribbed scarf, then you will do 1 by 1 joining and 1 by 1 dividing. 2 stitches from the first part of the keyhole and 2 stitches from the second part. It's not as easy as it looks, but I'm sure you'll do it properly, because it's not difficult either, just too many stitch holders and needles in your hands. So 2 stitches from here, 2 stitches from there, 1 less needle to cope with, and the last 3 stitches come from the first part of the keyhole. And we won't need our stitch holder anymore. Now we move, because our yarn is from this side, to avoid breaking it and more loose ends to weave in later, we'll just move the stitches to this side of the needle and start working on our ribbing. So this would be a selvage stitch, this would be a purl stitch, again a purl stitch. Why it is purl? Because we are knitting from the let's say it's the wrong side from our keyhole, right? For the right side, for the first part, it would be a knit stitch. A bit tricky, but yeah, it's not that difficult. So we knit, 2 purled, 2 knit, and 2 purled, and go on like this till you finish the first row. Okay, the last 3 stitches are purled, and here we go. We locked our keyhole. Now we have it all good and ready for our scarf to be tucked in and keep us warm and safe. Happy knitting!